In part one of this deep dive into the divorce industrial complex, we saw how the divorce industry profits by packaging women's empowerment while leaving men as collateral damage. But that machine does not run on sympathy and validation for women. It runs on a calendar. Now in part two of this deep dive, we'll break down why divorce filings surge at the same times every year. And then in upcoming parts, we'll turn to politics, lawyers, custody incentives, and even the cultural fallout that keeps this system alive. I'm Todd. I'm a psychologist and author who supports men. And if this is interesting or informative for you, please consider subscribing with notifications so you get notified when I drop new parts to my deep dive video series. So I didn't realize this until recently, but divorce filings are not evenly distributed across the year, not even close. In fact, it follows a seasonal rhythm so consistent that family lawyers, sociologists, psychologists, even financial planners can predict when filings will surge year after year. Attorneys often refer to this pattern as divorce season, with two peaks standing out every year. One in early spring and another in late summer. Furthermore, a study from LawFind confirmed that searches for divorce, child custody, family law, other terms like that, rise by 50% in the several weeks leading up to those main seasons. For men, divorce season isn't just a fun fact phenomenon of the calendar. It's often a financial and emotional ambush that comes on a schedule that I think they should all be aware of. When findings surge during these two annual rushes, attorneys and courts, they know that they'll have a full docket, and unwitting men caught in that wave often face higher competition for legal representation and rushed negotiations in turn. In practice, this means less time for a legal team to prepare and more pressure to settle early or quickly, often on unfavorable terms. NPR reported recently on this phenomenon, likening it to the influx of cases that a CPA might see during tax season. And oddly enough, January, often called divorce month, is actually one of the slowest periods, with many firms seeing a drop-off of about 50% of divorce filings compared to normal months. So the first surge comes in March. A University of Washington sociologist explained that the spike represents opportunity for a new beginning, a new start, something different, or a transition into a new period of life. And all of that should sound familiar for the ripe wife looking for the validation of a new life that I broke down in part one. The timing of the first divorce season also makes the fallout harsher for men, economically speaking. The March divorce often comes right on the heels of holiday credit card payments coming due, as well as tax season when finances are already stretched. The second major surge arrives in late summer, usually in August or September. And here, the drivers are, I guess, both practical and psychological. Families often attempt to hold it together as best they can through summer vacations, giving the appearance of normalcy for their children. But instead of repairing marriages after that time together, the intense closeness of summer often pushes people to their limits. Expenses such as vacations and summer camps for the kids, they add financial strain, which frequently pushes struggling marriages past their already breaking point. By the end of summer, with vacation bills coming due and tensions exposed, couples often conclude that the relationship simply is no longer viable. For fathers, an August or September divorce means custody battles collide with back-to-school expenses, disrupting children's routines, maybe their sports, and leaving dads footing bills at the very moment that they're fighting to stay present in their kids' lives. What looks like seasonal business to lawyers translates into financial instability for men. There's also the psychological toll of being tied to the calendar. Some men enter spring or the end of summer with a sense of dread, knowing those months carry a higher risk of being blindsided by papers. Or hell, maybe he's even well aware that it's coming when he brings his family back home from Disney. And research shows that men already face sharper declines in mental health post-divorce, with higher rates of depression and substance abuse. Add the element of predictability for some, and divorce season becomes yet another cycle of stress for men to anticipate, not just to endure. Ultimately, divorce season exposes how routine, predictable, and profitable divorces become. To the industry, it's a rhythm that guarantees boosted revenue twice a year. To men, it's proof that their lives, including their marriages, families, and finances, can all be reduced to another line item in a P&L statement. Taken together, the evidence makes it clear that divorce has become part of the cultural calendar. Families postpone breakups to preserve holidays or vacation plans, then file en masse in spring and late summer once some symbolic milestones pass. For attorneys, these surges are so predictable that they even plan marketing campaigns and staffing increases around them. For society, the existence of a divorce season underscores how normalized and nonchalant dissolution has become. Another milestone to schedule alongside tax deadlines, back-to-school shopping, and getting an oil change. Divorce season shows us how predictable and how routine the business of family breakdown has become, with men often bearing the brunt of the financial and emotional fallout at the very moments that the system is busiest. But this isn't all just about timing. It's also about politics, policy, and cultural narratives that keep this imbalance alive. So coming up in part 3, we'll look more closely at how lawmakers and media use things like women's rights rhetoric, lobbying power, and the deadbeat dad myth to turn divorce into permanent political weapons.